Welcome to episode 132 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name's Trent. This is Jason. And guess what?
What?
Bruce Kulick, formerly of Kiss, is on this podcast.
What?
Just so you know.
How did I not know about this?
I sprung this on you in front of tens of people. Or how many people are listening?
Holy shit. Tens of people. At least we know where we're at, huh? No, I was there. Just kidding.
Right.
I remember it well. It was an insane honor. It was
Yes.
a great honor.
This man is currently in Grand Funk Railroad. He's been there for 17 years now.
Yes.
Of course, we all know and love Grand Funk as well. Grand Funk, Kiss. There's a long list. Union. We're both big fans of that band. He played with Michael Bolton for a while. He played with Billy Squier. He played with Meatloaf. This guy's resume is better than 90% or 99% of most musicians.
That's right. I mean, it was great to talk to him. Great stories. Just a lot of knowledge. Definitely. I mean, I'm all ears when we do this, but I was really all ears. And, just another member of Kiss in the Kiss, family tree that one day we'll get them all, hopefully.
We now have 25% of the living members of Kiss.
Bam.
Yeah, 2 of the 8.
Yep.
So I assume we'll get Vinnie Vincent before Eddie Trunk or anybody else does.
Who knows? Right. Or, supposedly he might be a woman now, too.
Oh, that's cool.
Remember that? Hey, that's fine. Whatever you got to do. But we're going to get him on the podcast one day.
We will.
I like that you got 25% from 2 from the 8 of, see, I don't think in those terms. It would take me like an hour to figure that out. So that was awesome that you could do that. I'm proud of you.
You just set yourself up for this joke back.
Not only are you a podcast genius, but you're great at math, which is something I'm not.
If you're a math teacher, how could you not be great at math?
I just look like one, okay? I'm not one. There's a huge difference.
Sorry, there's an inside joke that most people aren't going to get.
And that's okay.
Or you did say that on the podcast last time.
I don't know, did I?
I think you said you look like a math teacher after you shaved your beard.
Well, I do, but, that's all right. It's coming back, and so, anyways, Bruce Kulick, he's the fucking man, and we got him on the show today.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about this here in a minute. But first, we want to play some music. This band is called Folsom. This song is called Cannibal. Check this out.
Going on camp, shoot when it's first. You won't be last. You ain't You're all losing, it's doing fine. He got them cannibal blues and ain't got nothing to lose. Guilty of a hideous crime, was racing down to the bloody time. Running wild and running high. Welcome to the cannibal ride.
Cannibal from Folsom out of France. There's something, it's always nice when you hear something that's not typical, you know, and this is, I mean, what do you say? It's covered in, it's got classic rock vibes, funk rock vibes, and then all of a sudden it just explodes into like, you know, what? I don't know. Yeah. If Johnny Cash was in the stoner rock, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, I just, I thought it was kind of a breath of fresh air. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. This isn't anything we haven't heard before. You know, I mean, this kind of style of rock has been around, but I don't know, it's just something that you don't hear that often, or, you know, they're putting a different spin on something, and, you know, they took that pickup and just switched it all the way to the neck, and, you know, it's not overdriven when it kicks in. I mean, it's not distorted, it's just a little overdriven, and they're rocking out, and it's just kind of different, and it kind of shows, it's like,
it's real loose too.
Yeah, it's like they want it, you know, halfway into the song, they want to get heavy, and they do, but they don't want to do it like everybody else. And it just stands out more, and I think it worked, especially for where the beginning of the song came from. And so, you know, I don't know what instruments they played. I don't know what they look like. You sent me the link. Sometimes when you send me these YouTube links, I just put the phone down and listen.
Yeah. I
don't want to look at nothing because I think that, you know, that plays into your judgment, and it shouldn't. And, I thought the vocals were pretty cool. I thought sometimes, you know, in the heavy part, it kind of sounded like old Clutch, you know, like when back in the day when Neil Fallon kind of yelled a little bit and, you know, grrred a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just this was just a great, you know, amalgamation of sounds, if you will. I've always wanted to go to France. I will someday, and this just kind of makes me want to go more, you know, if there's cool shit like this going on.
Right.
So that's my take for what it's worth.
Well, on their Facebook page, they did say, of course, Folsom is a tribute to Johnny Cash.
I figured, yes, and that's great.
You can hear that tiny bit in his vocals, you know, so.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a mix of all these different styles, and when people pull that off, it's always great.
Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of people try to do that, and it, you know, it sounds like a cat getting their balls squashed on. So,
right.
That they didn't do that on this is really great.
Definitely. So check him out. Look him up on Facebook, Folsom, Folsom. So on a totally different subject, whose side are you on, Chad Kroeger or Corey Taylor?
Automatically Corey Taylor. Automatically. But then again, you know, I mean, do I do that just because it's automatic that we don't like Chad Kroeger?
That's exactly why you're doing
it. Is that where we go to? Am I just programmed? But I don't. Here's the thing, and I don't really care. You could put any band in this situation.
No, you can't.
It doesn't matter that it was Nickelback. You know, from what we know, the interviewer brought up Stone Sour, like, hey, you know, this is kind of diverse like Stone Sour. And to me, it didn't seem like that guy was trying to get Mr. Chad Nickelback to bag on Stone Sour. Mr. Chad Nickelback himself chose to bag on Stone Sour. So.
And good for him.
I don't know. You know,
See,
I mean, you're always going to take that, you know, you're going to take the whatever everyone else is going for, you're going to go against that, Trent. I understand that. That's one of the reasons you're one of my best friends, and I like that about you. But I'm just saying, let me just get my thing out. And not really my thing out, but I'm trying to get my point out.
You're talking about Corey Taylor, you're like, let me get my thing out.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, you took it there. I didn't. That tells more about you than it does about me, but that's a whole other episode. But it's like, he didn't have to go that route of just, you know, just immediate shit talk. So, and he did, and you know, Corey Taylor's going to come back with something.
Right.
And, you know, maybe Chad What's-His-Fuck said that just because he knew Corey Taylor's kind of a mouthpiece.
Right.
And it would just drum up publicity for all this shit.
Exactly, yeah.
Who knows? Honestly, to be completely fucking honest with you, I don't care either way.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about Nickelback. And it's not just because, you know, it's popular to not give a fuck about Nickelback. I just really don't like them. But if somebody else likes them, that really doesn't bother me as much as it bothers some people. Really don't care about Stone Sour. I've heard maybe 2 or 3 Stone Sour songs in my whole life, and I was not enthralled. I like Corey Taylor. I like people that are outspoken. I like people that do a lot of different things, you know. But you're not really ever going to find me, you know, sifting through the Slipknot and Stone Sour catalog, you know, with a gigantic erection like a lot of fanboys. So, I don't know. I don't really care. I'll just go listen to some Anthrax or something.
Right.
So, that's what I think.
What if Corey Taylor had become the singer of Anthrax?
Oh, I know. God, where'd that come from? I didn't even think about that. And if that's the case, I'll just go listen to some Megadeth or something.
Okay.
Okay, then. There we go.
Well, he didn't, thankfully. But, look, I like Corey Taylor. I've always liked Stone Sour, and I love Slipknot. And I've always loved the fact that this guy says shit all the time, and 9 times out of 10, I agree with what he says. Mm-hmm. But over the past year or so, it's like every fucking thing he has an opinion on, and I'm like, that's great, but shut the fuck up. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand that's feeded by Blabbermouth or Loudwire or someone just picking up shit every time he does an interview and shoving it down your throat. So maybe that's not him, but it's to a point that I'm like, I want someone to say something about this guy. And it just sucks that when someone finally did, it's a guy that a lot of people hate. So they're automatically going to side with Corey Taylor whether they like him or not.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing with Nickelback is Chad Kroeger. They've been around almost 20 years. And he's never said shit. He's never talked shit about anyone.
Yeah, I know.
And he has every right to run his mouth because people always running their mouth about him.
Yeah.
And he finally says something, and now it's like he's a bad guy. I'm like, sure, he could have done it better, but why? It's probably like you said. It's like, hey, this will get some publicity. It's a joke. And even though it's a joke, it's true. Stone Sour had 1.5 hits 12 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they have great songs. That's not the mark of a good band if you have a hit on the radio.
Yeah.
But
I just, it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's 2 bands I'm not really thrilled about anyways.
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever.
I'm just indifferent. I've always been indifferent towards Nickelback. I don't hate him. I don't like him. But I just think it's cool that over the last year or 2, you'll see interviews with him, and he's knocking on that fact, you know, people make fun of him, and he plays it up.
Well,
which is good, you know. It's good. They can make fun of themselves and not take it seriously.
That's right. Because they're laughing all the way to the bank.
They're still filling up arenas.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And I agree with you. You know, people like that, polarizing people, when they don't take it seriously, and I know they don't. Nickelback, I don't know what song it's for, but they've got one of the best videos in the world. I know I've told you about it. A guy at work that really loves Nickelback, you know, and we always fought about it, told me to go look up this video on YouTube. And I looked it up, and it's, you know, these kids having a party, and, you know, the guy told one of his buddies, hey, you handle the music. And so he came back with a van, and he opened the van, and there was all a Nickelback, Bound and Gagged, and he was like leading them out there and forcing them to play. And the buddy that was throwing the party got pissed at him. He's like, that's the best you could do is Nickelback? So that's awesome. I loved it. And I'm like, hey, at least they know, at least they, you know, they don't take themselves seriously. That's why they'll probably be around for another 20 years making music, whether we like it or not.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to go buy it, but I'm not going to knock it. So, you know, and, you know, did we just have a segment here where we were kind of pro Nickelback?
Yeah, I think so.
That's crazy.
That's why I brought this up, just to see which way I could get you to go.
The avenues we go down, right?
Yeah. Maybe we should start talking about Bruce Kulick, because we both know we're 100% on his side.
We love Bruce Kulick.
So a couple weeks ago, we had the opportunity to talk to Bruce Kulick for a little while on Skype. So that's what we got coming here in a second. But yeah, let's just talk about this. Both of us, admittedly, are huge fans of Revenge.
Yes.
And this is where we kind of got our introduction to him. I mean, I had heard, actually, I think I told you that a while back, the first Kiss album that I ever bought as a kid was Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits.
Yes.
And he played on the 2 new songs on that, Let's Put the X in Sex and You Make Me Rock Hard. And
there you go. And you know what?
And then he played, of course, on Hot in the Shade, but I'd got that,
course.
you know, that came to me after, because I got into that and then Revenge and then started going backwards.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Hey, Let's Put the X in Sex. That might be a 80s corny kind of cliche-ish type kind of thing. That phrase. But damn, that's a good song.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. You can't stay still when that song's on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hashtag loves like a muscle and you make me want to flex.
That's right. And Bruce Kulick was on that track, and it was amazing.
Well, not just that. The 80s stuff. Asylum, he was on that.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What's the one I'm forgetting? Between Asylum and Hot in the Shade.
Crazy Nights?
Yeah, he was on that.
I mean, yeah, it's just, and then, like you just said a minute ago, Revenge, get the fuck out of here. One of the best records ever in the history of anything ever, you know?
It's just, yeah, hashtag all killer, no filler.
And that's what we're about here at Thunder Underground, okay?
Right. But yeah, I mean, I could listen to that album a million times back then, still to this day. Carnival of Souls, he played on that, and I actually listened to that recently because we have this thing, you know, not to drum up harsh bad feelings here, but we have this thing on our YouTube channel called Every Album in a Row. We take an artist, listen to their entire catalog in chronological order from start to finish, you know, obviously on our own time, and then we come together, we talk about how the albums flow, and if, you know, how the band, you know, moves throughout time, and if stuff like flows from album to album, that kind of thing. Kiss, you know, has this massive catalog, and we did it, but I took forever doing it.
Oh, is that where the harsh feelings thing you're talking about?
I know you finished it before
done,
Rocklahoma, like in mid-May or something.
I was done like 8 months ago, people, okay?
We didn't even start this thing 8 months ago.
Damn, sorry, I'm exaggerating.
The first one was earlier this year with Metallica, right? But yeah, we've got, you know, so if you're listening to this because you're a Kiss fan, with a good chance you are, we have this thing coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to talk about every Kiss album, you know, like I said, including Carnival of Souls and Psycho Circus and all the stuff that people like to talk crap on, but I've got some good things to say about all of them.
Yes, me too. And, you know, we're talking Bruce Kulick, we're talking Kiss, obviously, but like you said earlier, let's not forget Union, Grand Funk Railroad. He's played with Billy Squier, Michael Bolton. Yes, Michael Bolton, there was a time where, way back, Michael Bolton did rock.
Well, and even after that, I think he played on he did studio guitar on a couple of those.
Oh, he did?
I think.
Nice. So.
Don't quote me on that, I think.
Well, just saying that, you know.
Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Bruce Kulick's, you know, his work spans far and wide. And, you know, he is to be lauded. And it was, again, quite an honor to have him on the show.
And he has some great solo albums. BK3, his most recent one, is awesome.
Fuck, that was a good one, too.
It's got Gene Simmons sings on a track. I know there's a couple other people on it. Off the top of my head, I'm forgetting, but it's great stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and of course, like we said, Union, if you've never checked them out and you're a fan of hard rock, this has Bruce, and then it has John Corabi, of course, that you've heard us talk about many times.
Yes.
Because I'm an admitted fanboy of that guy. It's got Brent Fitz, and then, who am I forgetting?
Jamie Hunting.
Yeah. So you got these 4 guys that got together to form this group in the late 90s after Bruce was out of Kiss and John Corabi was out of Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And they made a couple great albums and a live album as well. So check that stuff out.
That song, Love, I Don't Need It Anymore?
Yeah.
How badass is that song?
It's one of the best love songs ever written. Anti-love songs, again. John Crosby does a great acoustic version of that on his Unplugged album from a few years ago, too.
Gotta love it.
And I saw him do it live when he was doing that acoustic show. But anyway, let's get into this, Bruce. Well, before we do, let me tell you, www.thethunderunderground.com, facebook.com/thethunderunderground. We're on every Monday night on WSNR 1027. That's, well, the website is 1027wsnr.com. SoundCloud.com/thunder-underground is where you can hear all these as well. So be sure and check out the previous episodes. Let's get into this. Bruce Kulick of Grand Funk Railroad.
I guess we got to start with this new song you did, If I Could Show You, with your wife. It's a pretty good song. Just talk about how that came about.
Yeah, actually my wife, Lisa, I didn't know immediately when I met her that she can sing, but once, we started to really get serious and I got to know more about her, I realized she really loved, especially standards, and of course she loved rock and Kiss and Pat Benatar and Heart and all, but she had a real love also for Judy Garland and the Rat Pack and people like that. But and actually, she kind of piqued my interest in all that, and we even used a little bit of a jazzy standard that she sang for the wedding. We just recorded it. We didn't perform it. We did our first dance, and I always told her that it would be really nice. At some point, we should record something, and maybe it could be something more pop rock or whatever. And this song was actually a version of it was used also at the wedding that we had in 2014 when she walked down the aisle, because it has a very love sentiment and everything. And then I don't know if you're aware, over Christmas we did a YouTube video of a Christmas song, and it actually went over very, very well. So originally we just thought we'd perform this in the living room like that, but obviously it really evolved into a full studio recording, and with bass and drums, and it was a little bit of a drama because it went from something maybe innocent and simple to a full-blown thing. But this song actually started way back when I did BK3. It was one of the songs, a certain version of it that I was interested in recording, and I actually cut some of it, and then it kept changing and evolving as it didn't make it on the record because I chose some heavier songs for the record, if you know what I mean by heavier, just more hard rock.
Yeah.
And she always loved this one, so it turned out to be something that was, I think, unique to us. It's hard to categorize it, but I'm just really happy with it. It's kind of funny that we're doing the interview right now, and I was just kind of rehearsing it a little bit because we're going to perform it, in New York on the weekend. But it's kind of funny whenever you have a studio recording and then suddenly relearning it, and knowing what you did that day that you recorded it was just posing a little challenge to me. But I'm glad I gave it a good listen, because obviously usually what you record you really like, but sometimes you forget all those, intricate parts. So it's kind of cool, though, that I think we can pull it off with just an acoustic and her. And that's the goal here, is just to play it real innocent like that.
So you're just playing the one song, or is it a full show from the two?
No, we actually, I'm not sure how much time there'll be at the expo, to be honest, but we already in Indianapolis back in April played Reason to Live, we did Crazy Nights, and we did Every Time I Look at You. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I mean, she has that range, because the 90s Kiss had the very high vocals, and she's a female, so she's got it. And she loved those tracks. And now we've been going over like Tears Are Falling and Who Wants to Be Lonely, and of course this original, If I Could Show You. So we'll see how it goes, how much time we have. We might be able to play, like a full half hour, which would be good.
Yeah. Are you guys going to do anything else together? Any more songs?
Eventually, yes. Mm-hmm. I just came off of something I called my May Madness tour, where I didn't do one thing. I did many things. It started off in Tacoma, Washington, and then I went to Cancun, and then I went back to LA, and then I went to Orlando, and then I went back home, and then I went to Australia. Okay. Yeah, a lot of miles.
Yeah.
And then when I came back from Australia, I turned around and I went to Ohio. And I came home for a few more days, and I went back to Ohio. And I'm 2 days back from the second Ohio trip after all my May Madness, if you get what I mean. So I haven't been able to put a lot of thought into it. I mean, but yeah, I wanted to do some more with her. I love the fact that I play guitar with Grand Funk. I love the fact that people like sometimes just to have me perform to a backing track, because I do a really good, they'll call it a clinic or whatever, but, imagine I could actually perform to backing tracks of some of the Revenge record, for example, or my solo albums, and I can just showcase me. And then there are times I'm asked to just, perform with a tribute band and get them tight to your ear and do things. So I see the opportunity to work with Lisa as just one more thing that really I'm very proud of, and I want to continue exploring. At the same time, people ask, when are you going to put out another solo record? And I have to really think about that. Now the way people share music and listen to music, you can almost just offer up singles and then compile enough of them and sell an EP or something. You don't have to do a full record. Because people are just since they stream a lot and listen on YouTube and things like that, it's more like one song rather than a full album the way we used to digest it, But I do want to continue. It was exciting, obviously, this year to at least have something new out, and the fact that I'm featuring my wife, I'm keeping it all in the family, you know what I mean? And so far the reaction's been great, and I'm excited about that. And outside of, she has a regular day job, and I'm very proud of her for working. I know the company she works for loves her, although it's not anything to do with music. Mm-hmm. But I promised her, I think we can work out like a working vacation, where we can do something like, I did this many, many years ago. I got offered to do some things in the ski resorts of Switzerland, where I was performing there. And that's really amazing because it's God's, creation up there, as you can imagine. And I said, wouldn't it be great if we could perform in the Swiss Alps for a week and just hang out there, and that would be fun, So that's something that who knows? I do have the connections to that, so we'll see where this idea of us performing together takes us.
Definitely.
We'll see.
Well, you kind of alluded to it, and it's been 7 years since BK3. Is that something where you always have ideas floating around when you're not working with Grand Funk and you're just on your own?
Yeah, I have some really good riffs and some ideas for songs that I could, if I was going to focus clearly on, okay, I know I'm going to, record X amount of songs, and here's the goal. Because I have to admit, getting from point A to B, and committing and moving forward with that, it does take a lot of prep and a certain commitment of time, and I can't even begin to tell you when you're traveling and doing all the different kind of things. Everything equates to me playing guitar, so that's wonderful, but there's so many different elements of a Grand Funk gig and a clinic or a recording with my wife or something, that or the touring in Australia, that takes me away from it. But as soon as I put my mind to it, I think I can start realizing an end game, for it. And I hate talking about something until I'm really, really immersed in it. Mm-hmm. I kept it quiet about the new song with Lisa because I was just trying to, I wanted to see how it would go. And obviously, if I was seriously starting to record for another solo record from me or even a new single from me, I would probably talk about it and explain it to people that I'm doing it. I know one other piece of the equation with Lisa that I don't want to forget to mention is we always wanted to do a video for the song too, and we took a lot of what they call B-roll in the studio, and we're going to do a little more of that and actually have a video for the song. But it won't be for another, month or so that I could say, we'll have something ready to share.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking forward to putting that out too, and that will. I know a lot of people would really enjoy that because I haven't done anything like that in a long time. So that would be good.
Well, speaking of Grand Funk, I mean, you've been there now for 17 years, and this same lineup's been going that whole time too. Has there ever been any talk about recording new music?
Years ago, I remember Don talked about a DVD, and then we didn't talk about it. And the recording end of things, it's kind of funny. I remember Don and Mel always being very cynical of record companies and everything. And now when you think about it, they barely exist. You know that.
Yeah.
Everything is do it yourself. And I think for them, the show and the fact that we're keeping the legend of the band alive and that good time music out there, I think that's more their priority. And we do a couple of new songs that have nothing to do with Grand Funk in the set, but we don't any ideas of recording it and releasing it or doing anything. It's really up to Don and Mel, and I'm not so sure they have any real desire to do it. But the most important thing is that we're real proud of, playing together, and we really do enjoy, wherever we play. We had a couple of great weekends in Ohio, actually, with really great crowds, and I love the fact that for 17 years, this thing has been consistent like this, about 40 gigs in a year, and they're just fly dates. It's not the go on tour for 3 weeks, right? But it can keep me busy, as you can tell, throughout the year. There'll be some quieter months, but most of the time we're doing something every month, and that keeps it keeps the fingers loose. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun, and it's hard for me to do, like for me to grab 2 weeks and go to Australia and do something like that. But when I'm able to fit it in, I take the opportunity. It makes my travel schedule a little crazy, but I think Don and Mel know I love also keeping that connection to my Kiss years, that when I can grab that opportunity, and most of the time it's international, I do it, and they know that's important for me.
Yeah. What are a couple of your favorite Grand Funk songs to play live?
Well, obviously, there's one that really showcases me a lot inside Looking Out, because it's got the big guitar solo in it. I mean, I actually get the solo in every song. All right, Some Kind of Wonderful, I'm just doing little riffs at the end. It doesn't have really a proper guitar solo.
Yeah.
But what a song, right? I mean, it doesn't need a guitar solo, I mean, Closer to Home doesn't really have a solo, but it has solo parts that are really important to the song. But the rest of them are like, I'm playing out, because that's part of the DNA of Grand Funk. And it's quite exciting that, I'm featured quite a bit, and I'm real proud of that. And I'm respectful of, the songs of Mark's leads in the same way that I was respectful of Ace's, and et cetera, et cetera. But, I certainly don't feel like I didn't get to express myself in a night of Grand Funk music. So, very, very wise of Don. When I wound up on the short list, I didn't know how it would fit, but as soon as we got together, I was versatile enough for them, and they certainly did need somebody that would play the leads, and have that spotlight. I also do the Star Spangled Banner every night.
Okay, yeah.
So that's kind of cool, and it's a little bit like the Kiss version, except I'm by myself, So, yeah, I got a chance earlier in the year to do that for. Actually, it was late last year. It was right on Christmas week. I did it for the Clippers here in LA, the basketball team at Staples Center. That was quite a thrill.
Nice. Well, we're just 2 years away from 50 years. I'm sure you guys don't have plans yet, but I'm sure there's going to be like a 50-year anniversary type thing going on, like you did with 45 years.
Yeah. I wonder if there's any. I think the label still owns, a lot of the product. You know what I'm saying? The the masters and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if Capitol or EMI or whoever it is now gets involved with some sort of special offerings. But what would happen from the band, I have no idea really.
Right.
All I know is I'm just really pleased that the work keeps coming in for us, and it seems like the band. We keep expanding our opportunities for the gigs, and the gigs keep getting better. So it's quite accomplishment to be doing it all these years like that.
Well, I've got to ask this question because I'm a huge fan of the 2 Union albums. I know that questions like this are never say never, but is there any chance you guys would ever get together to do shows or even music down the line?
I have no negative about that. And all it would take is probably the right, opportunity, an offer from somebody on the business end of things to make it a reality. And then, of course, everybody's schedule working, Brent, for many years, Brent Fitz has been with Slash. Now, of course, Slash is back in Guns N' Roses. So he's kind of freelancing around. He's still doing really well. So he's a little more flexible than before, probably. Jamie, I know, does lots of different things. And John, I guess, and I are the biggest wild card. John being so busy with the Dead Daisies, which has been a great gig for him. And John has toured by himself just with an acoustic guitar. He'll go off 2 months in Europe. I know what he does. And I'm very, very proud of everybody because everyone has stayed professional and busy and has continued with their music. So, I'm aware there's people who are still support the band and enjoy the music and would love to see something happen. But like I said, it's just about the right opportunity and everything. And who knows? 98 would be when our first record came out. So maybe something should happen next year. Who knows? Too soon for me to say, though.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my opinion.
Everybody loves the anniversary.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my opinion during your time in Kiss was a lot of the best live set lists. Did you ever have any say in picking the set list, or was that all Gene and Paul?
You got to remember that for me. I wasn't super familiar in a deep catalog way with some of the older material, all right? So, like, the first time it was presented to, like, let's do I Want You, right? I was like, whoa, this is a cool song. This is like Kiss meets Led Zeppelin-ish kind of thing, And I was really digging it. Same thing with 100,000 Years. I was like, wow. I might have heard it once or twice, but I didn't dig into it to really know, like how cool it was. Mm-hmm. And then I would, kind of interpret it the best I could. Again, I never was given the kind of direction to copy Ace note for note and to be the spaceman, But I certainly was respectful of the parts, you know what I mean, and a lot of the lead playing. But I certainly didn't need to jump in and say, hey, why don't we do this? The catalog for Kiss is so huge, So like whenever they went deep, it was fun, songs like Parasite and 100,000 Years, for example. We didn't always do them. Watching You, we dragged that out, and then of course for Unplugged, by then we were doing the convention tour, so we obviously knew things like Coming Home and stuff like that. It was pretty cool that. I got to play a lot of the catalog, especially when you add in the last year when we did the conventions and then MTV Unplugged. World Without Heroes. Who would ever think I'd play that?
Yeah.
But because we were doing acoustic, See You Tonight. You know what I mean? It was like, what? This is cool. This is Beatles meet Kiss.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to really suggest things. I'll be honest, and I did leave it up to them. The only frustration. But a lot of bands go through this, and it's silly to argue it, is when you do a new album. Obviously, you love the new album. That's your new baby. That's your new child. And you want to kind of like, it'd be fun to like perform a lot of songs from it. And it was something that Kiss shied away from, to be honest. where we would try a few. Sometimes it'd be really aggressive and might come out of the gate with like 3 or 4, and then the reaction is not really there, and then all of a sudden it becomes 2, and then it becomes 1. Because if you go back to your catalog, you're not going to lose the crowd. I'll never forget, I was a fan of Frank Zappa when I was young, and I went to a concert at a college out in Long Island. And I didn't know one freaking song he played, okay? He didn't play one thing. Well, Zappa's catalog was gigantic, and the guy was constantly writing and evolving and everything. And it kind of bothered me. So I did understand how when certain bands, they'd love to play their new record, but sometimes the fans came because they're really expecting to hear some of the hits that they, turn them on to the band.
Well, speaking of Unplugged, how do you think some of that material in itself, and was there anything that you didn't think did work?
Oh, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud of that record because, some people even say, "Oh my God, your performance on I Still Love You." To play that solo without sustain, like in a whammy bar, which is what the Floyd Rose, and to still make it mean something, to play Domino, which had this aggressive revenge solo, is just pretty wild that I kind of was able to interpret it. So I love it. That's one of my proudest moments in Kiss, is that we could, kind of perform a lot of the things that you would expect on acoustic, and at the same time we perform things that you'd never expect on acoustic, and pull it off. So and then of course the fact that the performance had the big carrot, which is the reunion. The fact that we were all playing together. It became like my last high profile gig with them, but it certainly was a performance I'm very proud of. The whole thing was great.
Like you mentioned the conventions, and you do a lot of those. Have you ever ran into any crazy fans or anything? Because I know Kiss has a lot of, hardcore fans. Have you had any weird encounters?
Well, anytime someone asks me to sign, their skin and they're going to tattoo it, it's wacky to me, okay? I'm extremely flattered. I had a really attractive blonde in Australia, and I remember she got a tattoo of one of my guitars, the Black Explorer that's on the cover of Alive 3. And the next thing I knew, I told her when she shared it with me on online and said, like, hey, look at my tattoo, I was like, wow. And I think she might have asked me for photos of the guitar before she did it. And I had some, and then she did it. And I was like, oh my God. But then to actually now sign next to the guitar, and then a few days later she sent me the photo with the tattoo. Now again, I wouldn't call that crazy, but that's a real dedication to Kiss, and it's quite flattering. There are some people who bring really interesting gifts, and I have to admit, I'm a fan of certain things too, and it's always hard to get inside someone's brain and realize how they it just becomes really special to them to get an opportunity to meet you, or maybe share something with you, or give you a gift of something. And even if it's a little odd, it means so much for them to give it to you. So I kind of enjoy that, and I look at it more like the way I look at certain people that I admire. So I don't get too, weird about it. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm actually always fascinated with what got them to that point. So I engage in the conversation. So it's interesting. It certainly is. It's not something that again, I play guitar. And I'm fortunate to be a musician from with a career of known bands. But again, what how someone reacts to that, and then to the point of loving it so much, and then wanting to tattoo their body, with members of the band.
Yeah.
It's a very curious thing to me. It's it is flattering, but it it's hard to grasp sometimes. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I said, I have my Beatle collection, and I love Beatles stuff, and I love Frank Sinatra lately, and I'm obsessing on buying every album he's ever put out, kind of thing. So I get the collection thing and the fascination with an artist that makes you feel good, So I try to relate to it that way.
Yeah. Well, working with Bob Ezrin, who I've read is a pretty big taskmaster, as an established player that definitely knows what he's doing, is it hard to take directive or criticism, or do you just kind of use that?
Well, it's a great question. Like, how do you work with someone like that?
Mm-hmm.
And we did get, I heard I know Gene and Paul walked into working with Bob with a little trepidation and all, because apparently Destroyer, he was amazing, and then The Elder, they weren't so sure that anyone knew what was going on, no less him. So even though that's an interesting album, there's no doubt, and I wasn't there for that, so I don't want to comment on The Elder.
Yeah.
But the point is, I went in there thinking like, okay, first of all, we got a chance to cut God Gave Rock and Roll with him, and that was before we committed to working on an entire Revenge album with him. And he was in his approach, his idea of the song and the vision was really great, and that's why we went forward and worked on Revenge together. And yeah, he was like a mad professor at times, and he was always striving for perfection. I mean, I've known a lot about him through the years now, from people that I know that have worked with him. And I still keep in touch with him. And I have always admired, I know that he's a super talent, but I also know he's opinionated and everything, and he has a vision. And fortunately, with everything with Revenge, we were all on the same page, But just to give you the example of the craziness, I mean, I learned things from him in the studio. Kind of like, to me, that was like the Beatles working with George Martin. You have a guy that has a lot of history in the studio and everything, and I didn't have to challenge him. If anything, he challenged me. I know the Beatles challenged George Martin, but together they became like they served each other and they broke all the rules. Bob already inherited some of that, so at one point I remember him distorting my guitar through a compressor, and I said to him, "What are you doing? I think that sounds terrible." I had to tell him because it did. It sounded all distorted and weird and everything. And he goes, "Yes, but now listen to it in the track along with the other guitar that you did." And it sounded amazing. And I was just like, "Oh my God, where did you learn that?" So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
One other occasion when he made me, we were working on a solo for, I'm not sure which song, it might have been even Domino, but we worked it out and we doubled it. And that's not that easy to do, And then we tripled it, okay. And then we took a little break, and then he came back and he listens to it and he goes, "I hate it," and then he erased it. So you see what I mean? So the last 3 hours of work just gone. But that was the right call. What happened after that was better, and it was a fresh approach. So I've certainly learned a lot. And it's always very interesting. But, being involved in anything creative, and I've been blessed that I know a lot of very talented people, and I've worked with some incredible talent. So, there's that one part where you have to follow your instinct, and the other part where you just want to absorb everything like a sponge from the talented people around you, because it's gonna make you better. They're all my professors in life. I remember Michael Bolton always saying something to me like, priorities, we need to do this first, and I always remembered him saying it, and I'm not shocked that he became, wildly successful, and still is successful.
Yeah.
We didn't have that success together, but we did get a big record deal, and we did some exciting things together, but, again, I learned from him, he was always committed to being sure you're doing the right thing at the right time. That's important, so you can always learn from everybody. Billy Squier ran around the studio with a notebook, writing everything down meticulously as he was, creating his his album.
Yeah.
And from that point on, anytime I recorded, I had a notebook. You know what I mean? I wrote everything down. So you learn from everybody. How to improve your craft.
A couple months ago, we had Gene Simmons on the podcast, and we mentioned to him that they should do a revenge tour like they did the Creatures of the Night tour, and he claimed that will happen. So I know you don't want to speculate on anything, but if that did happen, is that something, what would your thoughts be on that?
Oh, well, I know that they're very proud of the record. Paul recently did a really big interview with Chris Jericho talking all about revenge. Regarding how they would do a performance of it or anything like that, I have no clue what he's talking about. But I love the fact that, I know it's an album that they are very proud of. And I worked my ass off on it, and it's something that, I think in any way they can explore it in the future, with or without me, I welcome. And obviously I'd love to be involved, but I'm not the guitarist of Kiss now. That's Tommy Thayer. So, and I'm good friends with Tommy. But I'm not really sure what he meant by that, to be honest. But I think it's great that everybody's talking about my era. Like in Europe, they just released Kiss World. It's another compilation from the record company. It opens up with Crazy Nights. That's great. Yeah. It's got Tears Are Falling on it. It's got God Gave Rock and Roll to You on it. I was like, whoa, finally. You know what I mean? A little. But those were all hits. Those are popular songs. They probably could have chosen a few more from my era, but for a greatest hits package, when the current Kiss doesn't do much of my era, I think that's really awesome. And that's the amazing thing about Kiss, is that they can go on doing mostly a set of the classic material and some of the albums that they put out, in the more recent years. But all those, fans, those huge crowds that they draw, there's younger and younger people, and they're fascinated with the band, and they get to see the vibe of what Kiss represents and how it's always just the greatest rock show on earth kind of thing. And next thing you know, they're looking it up and looking at the catalog, and next thing you know, they're looking at YouTube videos, and they're going like, who's that guy? Oh, wow. Ooh, I like this song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I meet young people that are just totally freaked out to meet me and get my autograph and take a picture with me, and that's unbelievable. And without them continuing and being out there and keeping the flame alive, I think that it goes hand in hand with, they don't have to, kind of be focusing on my era at all. The thing is that they're keeping Kiss in the limelight, and that some of that light is always shined on me and my era, and I'm very fortunate for that.
Well, you
will not be forgotten.
Never.
Sounds like a title. There you go.
Well, you mentioned Billy Squier, and when you worked on Tell the Tape, that was before his career really took off. And I've heard guys like Eddie Trunk talk about how you could kind of see early on that this guy was destined to blow up. Whenever you were, when you were working with him, did you get that feeling, or did you see that coming as well?
I was a huge fan. I really was flattered to get the opportunity to record on that record, and I had a little bit of a conflict with Michael Bolton and Blackjack in our second record, and that's why I couldn't tour with him then. But it's very ironic that he did want me to go on tour with him, because I played rhythm guitar on all the tracks with him and played some solos. And I was very impressed with Billy, and that's when I mentioned earlier how I saw how smart he was in the studio and how meticulous he was as a songwriter and thinking as a producer. And I'm not surprised he took off. But the irony of, if I would have stuck with him and I didn't stay loyal to Michael Bolton and the Blackjack thing, is I'm not so sure I would have gotten the opportunity to play with Kiss.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting twist in my life, that I kind of felt, believe me, when his next record came out and he sold triple platinum and stuff and headline tours, I was like sitting at home going, what did I do? Oh my God. But then, at the same time, that's when I got the opportunity to work with Kiss, and that door opened. So, and that was 12 years. Who knew? You know?
Yeah.
On a completely different note, you've been a part of a lot of those cover songs on tribute albums and stuff like that. And I know a lot of those are probably done, piece by piece with guys in different parts of the country or world. But are any of those stand out to you as being your favorite that you worked on, or any of the guys you worked with?
You're saying the other people? Or the cover stuff?
Yeah, just any of the specific songs that might have stood out by who you worked with on them or how they turned out.
One of the first tribute things I did was that Queen song, Save Me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I must have cut that. I could have cut that 20 years ago, I swear. Because I remember going and supporting it with Rudy Sarzo. We went to Spain to do a record release thing at Virgin. It was really exciting. I remember they had these pretty girls handing out condoms there at the Virgin store. It was a little odd. I don't know, but anyway. I got to say that that track stands out. The Sad But True Metallica cover that Eric Singer is on also. That's gotten a lot of hits. Ironically, the Christmas song with Lynn Turner, a lot of people really love. There's quite a bit of that tribute stuff. I don't wince at any of it, but my brother used to do a lot of them years ago when there was this couple labels that was very interested in funding those, I didn't mind. I think probably one of the last ones I did was the Randy Rhoads tribute, and I'm glad the song that they gave me was much more almost more Kiss-like. It was an early Quiet Riot song, That was kind of like a strutter, very good time rock and roll kind of thing. So, I dig all that stuff, I'm a big fan of all the bands that I wound up doing a tribute thing. I know I did with Karabi, I did Hot the Teacher, a Van Halen thing, and Eddie's one of my big heroes too, so they're fun to do.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate your time and spending 30 minutes with us here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, it was almost 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Almost. 37, yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
And let me ask you, you're wearing an Oklahoma shirt, so is that where you're near?
Yeah, we're in Tulsa.
Tulsa? Okay.
Yeah.
I know Grand Funk, we have something on the schedule in Oklahoma this year, so look it up.
Oh, we will.
We'll do.
Go to grandfunkguerrero.com and click on tour. There's definitely a link to the gig. But all right, well, great chatting with you guys, and I hope everything goes well with your future interviews, that you get all the stars you want. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care, man. All right,
Bye.
All right, bye.
There you go, Bruce Kulick. Thank you very much to him for taking the time out of his day to talk to us there for quite a while. It was like 40 minutes. Very cool. Quite an honor. I know you feel the same way.
Oh, man. I just, it was hard not to fanboy out, but, you got a job to do, so you got to do it. But no, it was super cool, and Bruce is super cool, and, another great one, another one for the books.
Yeah. Grand Funk Railroad. These guys, it's been this lineup that they have right now the whole time he's been there for the past 17 years.
That's great.
They're playing Frontier City in Oklahoma City on July 29th.
Nice.
So if you're in the Oklahoma area, get out there. I can't remember Grand Funk coming around here in my adult life in Oklahoma.
I don't know.
I feel like they might have came, way back when we were younger. But
yeah, probably.
Since he's been in the band, I could be wrong. I just don't remember it happening. But anyway, so there you go, July 29th. And he still does these Kiss conventions. He kind of alluded to that. He still embraces the Kiss stuff.
Yes.
Kiss fans all over, diehards want to talk to this guy because he's a big part of their history, for
very big part.
12 years. And we didn't even kind of talk about, we did on the interview, but I know you're a massive fan of Unplugged. And this guy was the big part of that.
And that was one question I love to ask. I think out of all the Unplugs that ever happened back then, that was one of the best. And it's just weird because right off the bat, you wouldn't think so. But so many of those Kiss songs, newest, oldest, whatever, they really lend themselves to an acoustic arena in such a great way. A way I didn't think possible. Listen to Coming Home from Unplugged.
Yeah.
Listen to that. That's one of the greatest live recordings ever put down on tape. I mean, that was so freaking awesome. And, you know, I loved the whole, that was probably one of my favorite Unplugs ever. So there you go.
Definitely. Well, yeah, like we said earlier, if you like Bruce Kulick and you like Kiss, check out an episode we had with a guy named Gene Simmons.
Yes, we had Gene Simmons on the show.
This was before he tried to patent the slash devil horn slash I love you thing.
Yes. And
we're not going to get into that because I'm going to piss off some people because I'm 112% on Gene Simmons' side. So F you all.
I am not, but hey, whatever. That's a whole other like 45-minute conversation.
Yeah. We could get into it, but now let's save it. Let's save it for CJ of Grind, see what he thinks.
Yes, that's a great one. And yeah, that's going to happen.
That's coming soon. So in our coming soon file, we've got Grind coming up.
Yes,
their return to the podcast. It's been over a year. They've got new music will be debuting as well. So look for that in the next week or so. Recording that one actually here in just a bit. So
yes.
Be on the lookout for that. We've also got one recorded with Doc Coyle.
We're going to have to go on a Coors Light run for those guys. Holy shit.
Are they big Coors Light fans?
Remember, they brought Coors Light.
Oh, that's what Dell had.
We might have to do that.
They probably like hams.
I got that.
Yeah.
And we got some PBR left over from the party the other night.
That's true.
Who brought that? I don't know. It ended up in my cooler. So fuck
mine.
it. Oh, it was?
Seth, I brought it to Seth, and he
Gotcha.
doesn't like PBR, so he brought it back and threw it in your cooler.
I would have known that had I not been too fuck hammered to fucking pay attention to what was going on.
There you go.
Anyways, back on track. Where were we? I'm sorry.
Doc Coyle.
Yes.
We have an episode recorded with Doc Coyle. He's currently in a band called Vegas Nerve and also in a band called Bad Wolves. And if that name Bad Wolves sounds familiar, it's because their vocalist is filling in for Five Finger Death Punch right now. He is also part of God Forbid. You know, they were together for 15, 17 years.
Yeah.
Just split up a few years ago. Great band we were both big fans of. He's done fill-in work for Darkest Hour, Lamb of God. This guy,
I saw him with Lamb of
guitarist.
God.
You did.
Twice.
And we talk about that.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that coming soon if you love metal. What else we got? 3D in Your Face if you love...
That's coming.
If you love 80s style hard rock. These guys making their return to the podcast. We'll get that one coming soon.
Yeah.
Like I said, Grind. Some other great stuff in the works. So
That's
be
right.
on the lookout for all this stuff.
Definitely. Go back in our catalog. We've had some great guests. Child Bite, Great White, Saving Abel, Custom Black, you know.
Bullet Boys, Seven Dust, Avatar, Drowning Pool, Corrosion Conformity, Battle Cross, Overkill, Act of Defiance, Megadeth.
He is Legend, Obsessed, Spirit Caravan, Crowbar,
Yes.
Overkill, Europe. We've had
Shinedown,
Shooter Jennings, Ian Moore. You know, we've had some stuff. We've had some stuff on this show, and you guys should go check it out.
Yeah, that's soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. 131 other episodes you can go check out. Every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 1027WSNR.com. We're also on YouTube at The Thunder Underground. We're on Twitter, THNDR, Ground, and Instagram at The Thunder Underground. This coming Saturday, July 1st. Don't forget, if you're in the Tulsa area, to check out Machine in the Mountain, Severmind, and Altar Blood at the Shrine.
That's right.
They're opening up for OTEP. I guess I'll throw that part into it.
Yeah, OTEP. Yeah.
Then the next week, Friday, Wednesday 13, is rocking out at the Vanguard. Former member of the Murder Dolls.
That's right.
That should be kick-ass. And why? Because Fist of Rage is opening up.
That's right. Fist of fucking Rage.
Yeah. This Thursday, I'm going to see Rammstein
in
Dallas. And speaking of Fist of Rage, Josh, the drummer, will be there as well.
Nice. You guys should get together and like.
That's what he already told me.
Reenact some of those German Scheiser fucking scenes that they do in the show.
Don't say that on here because that's something he will want to do.
That's exactly why I said it.
Okay.
You're in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
Consider yourself violated.
Right. Well, then that weekend as well, Megadeth and Meshuggah out at the Zoo Amp. The next night,
all that shit, yeah.
Crowbot at Thunder Alley. So if you're in the area, check all that stuff out. It's going to kick ass.
I don't know that I'll be in any of them because I'm going to be floating in the middle of a river.
That's true.
You know, drunk with no shirt on, blubber and chest hair everywhere.
Yes.
You know, but you know what? That doesn't matter because I'll be having a great time.
Of course.
You know, sometimes you got to just go relax. You know, give the shows a break. Go relax. Get comatose on some barley and hops and float around in a river.
Yeah.
You know, with crumbs from my sandwich all over me. Why not?
Hashtag chest crumbs.
Bam. Dude, that's it. That's going to be a thing now. We're going to make it happen.
We'll start it.
Use it.
All
Hashtag
right.
chest crumbs. Thanks, Trent.
Hell yeah. Until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.